Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Adamcast. I've got a special episode tonight. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if this was going to happen because of the whole Twitter thing. I don't know if you know what's happening right now, but Twitter is, well, I think Twitter just came back up. I don't know if it's back up or if it's down. I have been trying to tweet for a little while. I even have, it doesn't matter. I've got Anomaly with me. And welcome to the show. You made it. Yes.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, if I didn't make it, I was going to say I got hacked like Steve Scully and placed the blame on others.
I got hacked, I swear.
anything I've ever said that's wrong, I apologize. Yeah. I was just temporarily hacked.
Oh, that's all right. That's that's what we can do from now on, right? Because 4 days later, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I wasn't." Or no, did he even say it, or did they just call him on it?
I think they called him on it, but people were mentioning a few days ago it's a crime to fake a hack. So I think he probably realized he was going to be in some trouble and maybe fessed up, and they did it out the back door, just fired him like Donna Brazile. Maybe he'll get a spot at Fox News now. They like to pick up the leftovers from mainstream media, it seems like.
Yeah, it does, right? And they do that. So welcome to the show. For those who don't know, this is Anomaly, Legendary Energy on Twitter. And you're a hip hop artist. You are a political commentator, YouTuber, pretty much just an outspoken person. And people have been actually asking to get me to have you on the show for a while. And I welcome you to come and join me tonight. So
thank you for having me. Thanks for the intro. But I have to add one. I'm a hat salesman now because Facebook demonetized me. So now I'm a hat salesman.
All right. Well, you heard it here. He sells hats as well. I actually have his YouTube page in the description below. Also his Twitter handle, if you want to check him out, in the description below, so you can check him out. And before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe below. Hit the subscribe button. Really helps me grow. And also go to his channel and subscribe to him if you're not subscribed. He's awfully outspoken about his political views, and it's I've checked him out, and I've been following you actually for quite some time now, so I tend to agree with a lot of your opinions. So definitely check it out.
Thank you. All right,
so let's get into this. Let's just who are you? Where are you from, and how did you get into the YouTube game?
Yeah, I guess I started in YouTube in 2008. I attended West Virginia University in my freshman year in college, and I loved rapping. And I just uploaded stuff on YouTube, freestyling, and I saw a competition by a rapper named Wax, and I won. And it got me a little bit of a start on YouTube. Not big, but back then there was more community. There weren't that many people doing it. And I had, I think, 1 million views by the time I was like 20 in 2009. And it was all rap until like 2016. I just got so tired of what the media was doing. And because I'm an internet person and I was all tuned into like Facebook and YouTube, I saw how systemic it was and how they were trying to cheat Bernie Sanders, make it appear as if he had no chance of winning. The super delegates, like no one even voted yet. And they're like saying he's down by all these votes. And that's what really drove me to do political analysis. But yeah, I started with rap, I would say in 2008. So I've been at it for a minute.
Yeah, you got a really good flow too. If you haven't checked out any of his music, he's got some music on his channel. And yeah, I actually grew up in the Chicago area listening to Atmosphere, Sage Francis. These kind of like they're not really big artists, I guess. Maybe Atmosphere is a little bit bigger than Sage Francis, but those I like that kind of I don't know, that hip hop flow. And your music actually kind of reminds me of that kind of style, just really good flowy music. So I really like it. That's cool. So that's how you got into it. So Wax, you won a thing online, and that's cool. That's a cool bump. Where are you from originally?
I'm from New Jersey.
From New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. North Jersey, South Jersey.
More central, I guess. The people from the North and the South say there's no such thing, but I guess, yeah, we don't really subscribe to either.
Okay, so you're breaking the narrative. You are from the center. You're basically proving them all wrong. There is a central Jersey.
Yeah, but I'll say undeniably though, this way I could get people from the East on my side. The East Coast does diners better, pizza, and I would say hoagies and subs. That's our specialty.
Okay. I got to be honest though, I've been making fun of New Jersey folk for almost 20 years because I actually grew up in the outskirts of Philadelphia when I went to high school, and then I lived in New York for 15 years. Everybody there I've never actually witnessed this myself because honestly, there's bad drivers everywhere. But every single person that I would talk about Jersey drivers. Is this true? Is this a myth? Or I just want to hear it from someone from New Jersey. Is
It's
it
tough.
true?
It's tough because there's so many different places in New Jersey. I'm going to say no because, I've been to New York City a bunch and they just drive crazy there, but they're almost good at it. They don't get in many accidents. And I feel like LA has bad drivers, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm from a more rural place, I would say.
Okay.
I grew up on a farm actually. So it's hard to really drive bad in the area that I grew up. You got to be pretty bad, which I actually was. I crashed my car when I was 16, like just messing around, bumping like Gnarls Barkley. I remember I was just like fooling around with my friends. So I'm better now, but yeah.
Okay. Are you sure? I mean, you are a Jersey driver, technically speaking. So
I just bought a bike today. So I would say watch out on my bike. Luckily, I can't cause much damage on that, but I bought like a little cheap like bike from Dick's Sporting Goods.
oh, okay. Like a motorcycle or a
No. Just like
pedal
a
bike.
a bike. Yeah. So I
Oh,
don't know that I don't know the stereotype of New Jersey's with bike riding, but hopefully
No,
my driving skills don't translate.
yeah, I can shout out to my friend Ben, who is a driver in New York. He is a crazy driver, and he does make it look easy, or not easy, like you said. Like they're good at driving crazy. That's literally my friend Ben, who is a New Yorker for sure, and he drives crazy. But I mean, he doesn't get in accidents, but he's definitely a crazy driver. So anyway, so let's talk about censorship, right? I mean, you said that it kind of opened you up. You saw how they were manipulating the Bernie voters, the superdelegate thing. I mean, how does it compare now to back then? Because when was that? Like 2016, even before that, I guess, right?
It's worse. It's definitely worse now. I think they were doing a lot, but kind of behind the scenes, only if you were really savvy, you knew it.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't expect Trump to win. So now it's just like an all out assault to win the election. And the funny thing is, being an old YouTube head, like 2008, 2009, the conspiracy theories were that YouTube was going to sell out to big corporations and that they were going to drive the users away. That was the big conspiracy theory. And everything that was said in any conspiracy theory ended up being 20 times worse because YouTube wasn't owned by Google then. They catered to the user. That's what the whole website's about. And they blew away what anyone even predicted. Like even the scariest theories at the time is pretty interesting.
I'll be honest. I thought Twitter was locking it down today. I mean, they banned, oh man, Just Informed show that I went on. Red Pill 78. We got X22 report got banned. They dropped so many people today. The list goes on. And actually, let me see if I can pull it up because Twitter is. Oh, it actually did load. Okay, that's cool. Twitter wasn't loading. So I honestly, because we were communicating through Twitter, I was like, oh man, Twitter's gonna totally cut us off so that I don't think that they did all of this just to keep us from talking, but it would have made, just added to the list. Oh, okay. I actually I found this. Check this out. This is a list, okay, of all the different. So we got Destroying the Illusion, Red Pill 78, Praying Medic, Joe M, iPod. I don't even know all of these, but I know X22 report, Just Informed Talk I was on, Red Pill 78. I joined them on a podcast back in the day. I mean, they're talking about truth. They're talking about things that are happening.
That's YouTube that did that?
This is YouTube that was dropping the hammer. So they nuked a bunch of these conservative channels today. And then, of course, I consider myself a conservative channel. I mean, I'm not really conservative comparatively to many other channels that are out there. And, for example, I feel like you're a little more conservative than I am. And I kind of just expected when I couldn't get a hold of you, I was like, oh man, they got him too. Like this is
they demonetized me on Facebook, but I think a lot of those names they announced that they were cracking down on QAnon.
That's a good point.
The irony behind that is, the GOP condemned QAnon last week because that's such a big priority for them. And this week they're getting the same treatment as QAnon. So it's like with Alex Jones, people were like, even New York Post wrote an article and said, it's just Alex Jones and it's not. But it's like, if you don't believe in free speech for those you disagree with the most, you don't believe in it. So at this point, if people don't realize that, like the GOP should have been condemning big tech last week instead of the QAnon, have them on to debate them. Like, I don't agree with a lot of what they say. In fact, some of the people got annoyed at me in March and April. We had different opinions of the lockdown because they had their own theories. but never in a million years would I say kick them off social media. Now I win. That just makes me look guilty. That means I can't debate them. And that's what they do. It's like they think they have the moral high ground. And, their conspiracy theories, I find the mainstream media like Russiagate and stuff, they're not only dumber, they're more evil. I think, there's a purpose behind them where it's not just a random lie like they're guessing. I think they kind of almost accuse people of what they're doing. So then you can't actually investigate Ukraine or Russia, and it looks like you're complicit when in reality they are. So yeah, it's not cool. And it's past the point of no return. Like, I'm not the most, I mean, I am more conservative now that I've grown up and learned things, but as far as like in your face or, cursing or stuff, I mean, my stuff's really mild. So if I can't do my thing, I know JP Sears, the comedian with the orange hair, he got demonetized. I mean, if that's too far, then it's game over. Yeah. Seriously? By Facebook. They're going crazy.
Why? Yeah. Facebook is going crazy. I mean, in one of your recent videos, you talked about how Tim posted this thing that even in his messages you can't share links in your private messenger messages anymore. They're censoring it. It's like, it's getting crazy. That's
Orwellian. And with that list too, I know, like I said, I know they banned a lot of QAnon people. Me and Pragmatic disagree on a lot, but I had them on my platform maybe a few years ago to debate. And it's like, that's what it's all about. We don't have to agree on theories and predictions, but I mean, we debated and people saw it and they could agree with me or agree with him. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, I just can't believe they're going that distance. But something needs to be done about it. They're even censoring not just private messages, but I saw the GOP government website. Like, that's great. And they don't even do it to China or their, political or national opponents. So it's out of control.
And then it was, they did that whole, Trump taxes thing last week that they didn't censor. They didn't flag that at all. But now this actual stuff from Hunter's laptop is coming out, and it's like, it's legitimate. It's pictures of him. Their whole thing was that the pictures themselves were what was violating their TOS. But then you have I forget what governor posted it. Maybe it was Ted Cruz. No, I don't remember which governor posted and put it on their own personal site with no pictures, no information other than the text, which specifically didn't break any of Twitter's rules. They still banned it. They still are flagging it the same way. So it's pretty.
They're a PR team for the politicians that they want. And regardless of your politics, if you don't just, carry water for them and follow suit, they see you as a threat. Whether you're Ice Cube, Joe Rogan, people who agree with 95% of what they say, it's like they're really a problem. Something needs to be done or some sort of divine intervention.
Yep. Do you know who Philip Anderson is?
No.
He's very, very outspoken. He went over to Portland and was standing in front of the courthouse, or the Seattle courthouse. Wait, was it Portland? No, it was Portland, the Portland courthouse, right? They were attacking for
Portland,
50, 60, 70, I think it's 100 days now. I don't remember how long it was going on, but he actually went there. He's from Texas, I think. And he stood in front, and stopped them from, and his videos have been going viral. People have been posting it, but he's actually organizing an anti-Twitter, anti-big tech event. I think it was supposed to be last Saturday, but then he hit me up and he was like, it's going to be this Saturday now. So they're fighting it. There's some people out there fighting this. And then, of course, Jack Dorsey's getting subpoenaed. And that's interesting, too. It's like, wow, man, it's coming down.
It's almost good that it happened to the GOP, because I'm not the type of person that gets like jealous or something like, oh, it didn't happen to me. I don't want anyone to get censored, but watching the GOP condemn their own base and their own people last week when they should have been condemning big tech, you almost needed something to happen, because I know my page on Facebook, I had 600 million views. They really demonetized it and stopped my feed for an NBC article. I posted NBC News, which linked to CDC. They said that wasn't allowed. I posted a Ron DeSantis cutout of him posting the CDC website. Yeah. So if you're not even allowed to post the CDC or NBC News, like they're never going to stop. So eventually, unfortunately, it had to happen to the big dogs. I know Trump didn't take it that seriously until his tweets started getting censored. And then he started talking even bigger, where it's, you don't want to see it happen to the president, but you almost kind of do, so they take it seriously. Unfortunately, there's only 3 weeks before the election. It seems like they waited until the last month. They're like, Benghazi, this, that. I'm like, guys, and everyone's trying to convince me, like, it's coming right before the election. I'm like, you don't do this a week before the election. Like, I'm okay with the Coney Barrett thing, but as far as like 5 big investigations, like, you're not going to crack the code like 2 days before. Hopefully they win, but if not, it's going to be, I think, a shit show either way.
Well, for just for the record, I think they're going to win. Well, Trump, for example, I mean, I'm just specifically, I think he's going to win. I don't know what's going to happen with all the Senate races that are going on and all the rest of it. But man, but it's weird because Giuliani supposedly have had this laptop, or at least the hard drive, for almost 8 months or 9 months or something like that, since late last year. So he's been sitting on this. So he could have come out a while ago.
So maybe they're doing like the Billy Bush thing where it's like they're trying to wait. That's what my friends are telling me too. They're like, it's good to wait right before the election, because in the news cycle, it's so crazy under the Trump era that, something huge happens and then in a week you don't even care about it. Like this Amy Coney Barrett thing, like no one's going to care about it in 3 weeks. Or like Brett Kavanaugh, no one even thinks about that guy anymore. So it just cycles so quick. It's fun and it gets a lot of clicks, but it does. Even the Russiagate thing, what really bothered me was every conservative news outlet and liberal, they're talking about it every day, but I'm thinking like we could be talking about finance or building something or environment or something that's like innovative, but we're spending 3 years on this topic that's like a running in a circle. And now what do we have to show for it? The liberals didn't get their way. The Republicans, I mean, I guess just maybe broke even, and we just wasted so much mind power and discussion and like innovation on nothing.
Yeah, you nailed it. And that's really what I've been saying for a while. We have to stop worrying about the past. We could talk about the past, but worrying about it and dwelling on it isn't helping. So what you just said, we could be doing all these things. That's all working for the future, working towards the future, working for a future that you want. Like, how are we not doing that? How is that not mainstream to be able to talk about the future and work towards a better future? It feels like everyone's just happy and just in this little bubble of just dealing with complaining about everything else that's going on. That's what everyone's doing.
I think the pro of that, that's obviously a con, but the pro is like, if you can maintain your balance, you can make a lot of things happen. People come up to me all the time, like, I don't know how you deal with all this stuff, but I was like, you're more worked up about it than I am. I haven't really watched any of the Amy Coney Barrett stuff. I've seen some clips, but it's like, I get it. Like, they hate her. They're going to pretend, like the one lady said she sexually assaulted someone. Like, they think it's the Kavanaugh report. I get who the Democrats are. Unfortunately, they're predictable. So I don't spend that much energy getting upset about it because it's predictable. I'm more surprised when something like fantastic happens. And it's not to be pessimistic, but like, I don't want to spend 12 hours a day freaking out over something that's predictable. I'd rather like ride a bike and then get to work, get my work in, and then get away, because you can't like keep your mind in this all day. It'll drive you crazy.
Thank you for that. That is, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, and you look at her record. I'm talking about Amy right now. She's great. She's awesome. You can't knock her at all. Doesn't make any sense.
They just, it's a shame too, because they always ask the wrong questions. Like with Trump, I didn't like the way he handled the lockdown, but for totally different reasons than Democrats. So they're like, you killed 200,000 people. Like, what does that even mean? Like, okay, if Obama was in, like, he had a magic wand and it would have disappeared or something. Like, what would you have done? I'm just not him. I have a plan. What's the plan? My plan's not him. They're so fake. It is kind of bizarre that people still fall for it, but there are questions to ask Trump. There are things that like, I think maybe if you went on Joe Rogan or maybe like a podcast of someone independent, they'd have good questions. And he's an authentic guy where he doesn't get challenged enough, unfortunately, because literally all they do is smear him. So he's used to just like swatting him away. And it is a shame for people who actually have legitimate questions. But yeah, the Coney Barrett thing, it's like, did you molest someone or like sexually assault someone? Like, has anyone even accused her of doing that? Like, if I came on and just like asked you that question, it's like, where's that even coming from? It's like, that's not I guess that's normal now that they did it to Clarence Thomas and Kavanaugh. Now it's their like status quo. It's like, you must have raped somebody if you're a Supreme Court justice. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And they got nothing on her. So much that Kamala is like, is COVID a real thing? It's like, what? Like, what are you asking? And she's like, is climate change real? And it's like, oh gosh, what are you trying to trip her up? Or sexual she didn't say orientation, she said preference. They're the same thing. Everyone was saying sexual preference for months and months. I'm talking about the people on the far left that are freaking out about sexual preferences and all that whole thing. They changed. Actually, your video, you were talking about this, right? They changed the definition in the dictionary, right?
And one of those lefty like magazines, I think it was called Advocate, they said it was anti-LGBTQ to say sexual preference, and they themselves said it September, I think 25th, just less than a month ago, where it's like the non-polite thing on the far left is to just say you're a man or a woman. Is like, that's I don't know anyone's ever made the argument that the word sexual preference was offensive. It was like, if you don't respect their sexual preference, but the word to designate that is sexual preference. Wow. I mean, it's so pathetic. I can't believe people don't notice it yet. It's almost funny, but I'm like, I don't know. I would think hopefully like some LGBTQ people are paying attention to this and be like, you know what? I've never been offended by that word. There can't be 20 people that have ever even thought that was offensive before she said it. So hopefully people are paying attention, but who knows?
I think no one has been offended. That's literally how little they have on her, that they need to drudge up whatever they can. Like, please, everyone, come on, let's work together, because we got to figure something out why she's not good. Because newsflash, Democrats, she's actually a boss. So sorry, she's perfect for the job.
And I don't know if you saw the ex-CEO, Dick Costolo or whatever his name was, but he was basically lambasting the Coinbase CEO because he put out this whole article and explained how he wanted his company to focus on their company and do good work. And he didn't want to deal with social justice. And he basically was like, when the revolution comes, CEOs like you, capitalists, are going to get lined up against the wall and shot, and I'll happily provide video commentary. So he was so that was just last week. This week, Twitter's doing that. This is what I don't like to scare people because I'm an optimistic guy. But these people, like, you see how they're spiraling. Like, what do you think they're going to do when you get power? They're kind of telling you. They have, communists and people with this ideology have killed millions of people in the past because their priorities are screwed up. They have no shame. It's like, Steve Scully, like, I got hacked. They're doing this. They're shutting down articles. Like, where does this lead? How could you possibly spiral more? Where do you go when you change the dictionary of a definition that literally offended nobody? Like, you run out of room. So eventually you just start like attacking people because you're a psycho. So I pray that doesn't happen again. But it's like, I hope people realize how far they're spiraling and where that leads to if they get power. They can't like you're more conservative than me. It's sad that places I used to love, like Portland, and I used to go up there and hang out with my friends. It's like they can't even function. It's like, if you don't even know that it's wrong to burn down someone's business or a courthouse, like, it's like, well, how could I not go further? And it's like, I don't want them to drive me to it, but I'm like, man, I would much rather have somebody there that actually like holds down, the neighborhood, rather than like these people who are like hallucinating that dictionary words hurt their feelings. Illegal aliens the same way. I mean, Chuck Schumer used to say it. I never say it because I think alien's a weird word and I'm not a lawyer. But if it's a legal term, it's like it's a legal term. It's not like the whole world doesn't have to stop because I don't understand what it means. And it reminds me of like space aliens. That's not the way the world works. But apparently that's what they think. I just saw you have kind of an alien thing in front of you. That's kind of cool.
Oh, this is my UFO. You don't know about this? Let me show you what I do with this here UFO. I spin this thing.
It almost looks like a vaporizer or something that you're gonna like take a hit out of.
Maybe out there somewhere there's a UFO vaporizer thing shaped like this. But this is
weed heads will buy anything. I'm sure they do. They got like little turtles and stuff. I'm smoking out of a turtle. How cool is this? I'm like, it's mildly cool. It's really not that cool.
Okay, Hunter. Anyway, but no, but it's funny because they've been trying to change the term for racism in the dictionary. They changed that months ago in May or June or something. They changed that. They altered the definition, and so they've been doing that all year round. It's almost like it's just ramping up until the election. I mean, do you think it's real? Do you think this is all just BS for them to try to pull a win for the election?
They're definitely trying to win, whether it'll work or not. And who, I always ask myself, who is like just pretending for power, like the Pelosi types. Like I think she knows that this is kind of nonsense, and the Joe Bidens. But then I ask, even like in my friends who, we have disagreements now, I'm like, how much of that is them just pretending to feel this way because they're afraid to go against the narrative? And how many of them really fell for it? Because some of this stuff is so basic. You're like, is it possible to be so far indoctrinated in all these theories that you think that? Or deep down inside, do you really know? And I want to say, too, on the word racist and sexist, I'm actually writing my first book, and it's going to go through all those words: racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, and kind of explain what they mean, what the real definition was, how it changed, and how they're using it. Because I found it interesting looking up sexist. Sexist means if you discriminate against a gender. The word discriminate essentially means like differentiate. So it's like, of course, you differentiate men from women. Everyone does. So if you do that, you're technically, by definition, sexist, which is like some of these linguistic traps are the way the left really thrives. And I think a lot of the right doesn't really know how to handle it. And Trump has been so successful, not because he does know how to like break down, just because he's just so raw. He just doesn't care, where it's like things are going to come out wrong. But like people who are real people, like, will be like, you know what? I get what he's saying. It makes sense. So he did it in a different way. Whereas I do lyrics and poetry. I could see what they're doing. I love how Trump just like blasts through and it's like, I'm not abiding by any of these rules.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like that too. There's something very authentic about him. And authenticity is very obvious when you are talking to someone, whether they're trying to, appear different. It's so obvious. It's like, politicians watching Kamala talk, watching Joe Biden talk versus watching Trump talk. It's like, man, he's giving you, like, he's being bold. He says the quiet part loud. He doesn't care what you think about it. Where Biden and Kamala are like, well, Biden, I mean, he just clearly is just reading a teleprompter, albeit terribly, because it seems like he skips lines and tries to make it make sense, but then he just stumbles even worse and worse. But Kamala, I mean, man, she's calculating in a gross, condescending way as well. And man, it's that authenticity that you're talking about, and that's the way to be, right?
Yeah, and hopefully it translates, because I think in 2016 it snuck up to him. I think he's more popular, but of course you have the pandemic and other stuff. But I pray that people see that, because it's kind of hard not to. Yeah. When you go back to the old political ways, it's kind of tough to even deal with it.
Yeah, well, you said something interesting earlier. They're trying to blame this 200,000 deaths on him. Well, I was reporting on the news very heavy all year long. And when this first was hitting in March, when they were like blasting him for doing all the wrong things, 2.5 million projected deaths are going to happen, even though you shut it down at the end of January and all this stuff. So we're going to lose all these Americans, and only 200,000 have died. And it's like, that's all I can think. It's like, how are you making it seem like 200,000, 200, almost 250,000? But it's like, you guys were saying it was going to be 2.5 million people dead. How are you blaming Trump instead of going, he saved 2.25 million people? Like, that's what I'm thinking, because that's on their own rules. That's what they said.
They're so inconsistent with, like, he shut it down early. They called him xenophobic, and then they switched strategies. Lockdowns are good. Lockdowns are bad. They told people to go indoors. Don't go outdoors. And then they forced you outdoors and said, don't go indoors. You have to go outdoors. It's like a game of, what's the game with the chairs where you pull them out? I disagree with Trump's strategy for another reason. I wish he would have avoided all this other stuff, but I understand where it's like, if he would have done that, they would have blamed him for every death, but they still do. And they've never, him included, they've never really explained to people how they're counting. Dr. Burke said it once, some lady from Illinois said it, but anybody with COVID-19 that dies, they're saying died from COVID-19, even if they're 100% sure that it had nothing to do with the death. I understand if it was in a mix of things, but they're clearly overstating. So we'll see at the end of the year, there's not going to be this astronomical, excess of deaths in America, because anybody that was going to die from something else, if they had COVID, they're just counting it off. So they're being very loose with the counting. They're being, very extreme with the testing. And I use this example, and I think a lot of people don't think this way, but say common cold, tens of millions of people get it. There's only 300 something million Americans. So if everybody got tested all the time with the common cold, We don't know how many people died with the common cold because they don't test for it. But this is the test that everyone at the hospital gets. So every single person that's going to die is going to get a COVID test. There's never been anything like this with the mass testing, not for the flu, not for the common cold, not even for more extreme things like pneumonia. So, it's just basic math of like, this is almost impossible to keep under 100,000 with the way they're counting. And I have a book, it was on Bill Gates' reading list. It's called How to Lie with Statistics. They talk about all this stuff. They talk about polls. They talk about, how it's so easy to manipulate statistics in your favor. And, I think this book was written in the 1940s or 1950s. So you can't keep this number under 200,000 because it's just statistically impossible with all the tests and all the overdiagnosis. I'm not saying it's not real. It's a real thing from people who've had it. I've heard some people don't feel it at all, which is pretty incredible. And then some people, are hurting pretty bad, but I don't think it ever justified anything they've done. So, but like like I said, like I disagree with what Trump did in a totally different way. Everything the Democrats say, nothing they say ever makes sense. They just blame him for everything, anything. The same thing that they said not to do, and then he did it. And it's like, it's so bizarre that people haven't caught on to it. But I think if you're just casually watching television or like opening Snapchat or Instagram, it's very easy to be misled because almost everybody is like in your face with the anti-Trump lie.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious. You've said a couple times so far that there are some things that you don't agree with that he has done. Could you have any examples that you got offhand?
Yeah, with the COVID, I would say I don't like the shutdown and how he was kind of saying Sweden's so bad for going for herd immunity. He was very critical of Georgia when Georgia tried to open before all the other states. So he was kind of pro lockdown for a minute and then he went over. I understand why though. I just don't agree with it. I think, he's taking that hardline approach and now he's on that narrative. So it's like he's sticking with I did this, I closed down the border, I did this. But I think he knows now that even after he got it, he's like, this is not the mask and all this is a little over the top. That I'm not a big fan of. And also, I would say the executive order on college campuses, the anti-Semitism stuff that him and the GOP do. And everybody always calls it anti-Semitic if you don't agree, but I'm not a protester. I'm not a Palestine protester. Okay. I just think it's a very fine line of once you shut down a protest or you shut down a speech and call everybody racist and an anti-Semite in the same way that the left calls everybody racist and sexist, it becomes just kind of a tool to, shut people down as opposed to debate. So, the COVID stuff is a lose-lose. I don't hold it over his head because there's literally almost nothing he could have done. And the states really have most power anyway. And he's not a dictator, so he doesn't override them and some of that stuff. But overall, I mean, they gave him the impossible this year, I think. And I think they know it, that this was like a economy destroyer, a credibility destroyer, a narrative to psychologically make people feel horrible. Because when things are good, the incumbent almost always wins. So they needed this year to be bad. And it just happened to be the craziest year ever. So psychologically, even though Trump is not responsible for it, they kind of have conditioned people to be like, don't you want to go back to when COVID was gone? Vote for us. It's so gross, but
yeah. Well, Pelosi is straight up calling it the Trump virus now. It's like, what? Where you get off, Pelosi? You're supposed to have you're bringing disrespect to the Speaker of the House's seat. Just what that seat represents, like what it is, and how disrespectful she's been, and then calling it the Trump virus, that it's his fault. When she herself was telling people in March, yeah, go ahead and go down, walk with Chinatown with me, like everything's fine. It's like, okay, so it's already like making it a Chinese thing, like you're down in Chinatown instead of just being out in general. The whole mask thing back and forth with the even the attorney or not the attorney general. I forget who said it, but they were like, no, don't wear masks. It's not a big deal. Like, you don't need to wear a mask. And then, like you said, they flip-flopped. It's just like whatever's convenient to make sure that they can, if Trump came out and said, wear masks right away, they probably would have been like, no, masks are terrible. It's like he can't win it all no matter what he does. He does one thing, they're like, how dare he do that one thing? If he did the other thing, they're like, whoa, he did that thing too much. Yeah, the Surgeon General, thank you, King. The Surgeon General came out and said, don't wear masks. They don't work anyway. The CDC came out and said that like the particles are too small. Masks don't work unless they're exactly the type of mask. And everyone's just walking around with like a homemade mask, wearing a bandana. It's like, even if COVID is in the air, the regular just bandanas don't work. you have to get an N95 mask or higher rating for it to actually work. So everything, and even you mentioned it earlier in Illinois, they were like any COVID death at all. There was a motorcycle accident in Florida, COVID death, just because he had COVID. It was like a younger man. They were like, look, it's a young man. See, it is killing people. And it's like, you realize he was in a motorcycle accident and that's how he died, right? Well, it doesn't matter. He had COVID. So COVID death. It's just like, oh gosh.
It's insane. And with the Pelosi stuff and these people, I think I figured it out where, I have progressive friends and we have debates, and they're so much more reasonable. But the reason is, in order to get to that position, you have to be so slimy. You have to sell your soul. Like there's probably millions of liberals that are more impressive than Amy Klobuchar, but like because they're more impressive and better, they don't want to run for politics. There's something about these people that can get to the top of the Democratic Party. You almost have to be a slime ball. And like, God bless Dr. Fauci's soul, but it's like, he's not Nikola Tesla, he's a bureaucrat. So it's like this idea that he's the top scientist. No, he's the top government guy who's in charge of where the science goes. I'm not sure that he's ever been a huge innovator. Maybe he has, but Luc Montagnier, who discovered HIV, he said that he thought this was a man-manipulated virus. I didn't say that. I don't have the credibility to say that, but he does. Wow. He's got a Nobel Prize because he discovered HIV, which is probably one of the better discoveries in the last 50, 60 years since they've discovered DNA. And he totally disagrees with it. But he doesn't have a platform because they've convinced people that like government bureaucrats are like Nikola Tesla and like Edison or something. It's bizarre to see so many of my smart college educated friends fall for this stuff. There's got to be ego involved where it's like, I have a degree or I did this, so I know all this, where I'm like, I understand the climate's changing, but you understand there's volcanoes, ice cycles, this is a huge world, and they can't really measure everything. They're trying their best, but like, most of the ocean's unexplored. They admit that when they go to Antarctica, they're only studying the outsides, and they can't even measure. This is on NASA's website. They don't measure the snowfall because they can't. So they're doing their best. But this idea that like the science is settled and like Dr. Fauci and Neil deGrasse Tyson are like Jesus Christ is bizarre. But it's like they keep growing and growing. And the future of it is what Twitter's doing, where it's like you're not even allowed, like Tim Pool showed, you're not even allowed to message somebody privately a link. Like you could probably message Tim, probably could have sent like a hardcore pornography link and it's totally fine. But he can't post. Yeah. I don't even know what he posts. I guess that New York Post article. This is like psychotic control freak. It's insane.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty crazy. I mean, Twitter's is still down. And in fact, I was curious. I was talking with some friends of mine earlier today. Well, basically, right after this started happening, I was talking about it, and we were having a discussion. And it was like, it's really interesting because tonight is the town hall meeting. They're I think it was supposed to be last night, but then of course they changed it to tonight because the people deserve to see the presidential candidates debate on who should be the president. Like we are owed that as citizens. So here, Twitter is such a town square, that's where we go to communicate. It's one of the social media platforms. It's like, it's so much bigger than just a program that people use. It literally is the public space. So we do need a 230 reform. I don't think we should repeal it because we just need to have the First Amendment covered, and I think this Twitter thing, I mean, I'm not saying that I do think this is the case, but it is rather suspicious that right before the actual debate where people tweet about this, they live talk about what's going on. A lot of times Biden is awfully, he's thrown under the rug because he is kind of embarrassing to listen to. He is an old man. I feel like he should have retired. I don't think he should be. He's not the same person he used to. He's not with it the same. Clearly he needs something to keep him going. He didn't want to take a drug test. People were like, we need you to take a drug test. Trump was like, I'll happily take a drug test. Test my blood. I don't care. Trump said Biden should do it too because I think he's on something. They're like, we're not going to do that. If you're running for president, shouldn't you be like, absolutely, go ahead. I'm full, whatever you need from me. I want to prove that I'm worth the respect of the presidency. And he's not proven that, So I don't know. I'm getting roundabout, but really it's like, imagine if Twitter's gone down so that we can't actually talk about it, that we're like, oh, we're going to tweet this out because we're making fun of Biden now because he's doing gaffe over after gaffe after gaffe. Guaranteed, you start posting that kind of stuff on Twitter, Twitter's going to be like, oh, that's anti-Trump or that's anti-Biden, pro-Trump stuff. I mean, it doesn't even have to be pro-Trump, but they've openly admitted. Project Veritas hit Facebook hardcore early, like a couple months ago with their Facebook insiders, that they were like, oh, pro-Trump. My own video of me saying I'm voting for Trump this year, back when I was on Timcast IRL, me and Tim had a really heavy episode of me and him back and forth. And I was like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I'm proud of it. Like, I'm logical. There's no way I'm going to vote for Biden. I think that, he's in bed with China. And that video had 2 million views on the Hodge twins posted it. Terrence Williams posted it. Like, some prominent figures posted it. Millions of views. 2 days later, it was gone. And I'm like, what happened to that? And I actually haven't talked to the Hodge twins. I would like to get a hold of them and see if it was because they took it down, or if Facebook told them to take it down, or if it was just taken down. I still don't know. But man, that's the censorship is I've seen it ramping up higher and higher as we get closer to the election. So like this now, especially on a day where YouTube banned, I know you're right. You said it that, those were prominent Q supporters. Like, they were talking about QAnon a lot. And it was, they were very open about it also. And they are cracking down. Like, Twitter has been banning QAnon people for months now. They openly said, like, look, if you are supporting Q, we're gonna ban you outright. So it's interesting, man.
With the Twitter stuff, I want to say, Steve Scully was supposed to be the debate moderator, and he, got hacked, which was a lie at the time. And then they folded the debate like a day or two after, because I mean, obviously it might not have gone through anyway, but the fact that their moderator now had a huge scandal, I think the easy thing to do was end the debate and be like, yeah, it's Trump and Biden. I don't know if they would have done that if they're like, it was so not worth it for them. They just wanted to scrap it. So I don't think these things are random. And, definitely with Twitter, it is where engagement is maxed out when the debates are on. And as far as the bannings and stuff, I mean, the GOP needs to wake up, because I've had debates with Pragmatic. I honestly don't agree with a lot of what he says, but a lot we do agree on. There's some things that are just like basic common sense. Others are like theories and predictions. And I never in a million years would ever want to ban him, because the GOP will condemn QAnon, and that feels good. Like, I debated Jordan Sather. And I was cool with them. It was what it was. Like, we agree on a lot, disagree on a lot, but the GOP condemned them. And now the GOP website's getting censored. For me, I posted an NBC article. Nobody defended me in the GOP. It took, they were busy condemning QAnon instead of standing up for people. So once you get rid of, and this is why I don't like when I see right wingers that say, look at Louis Farrakhan still on here, David Duke's still on here. Like, why are you throwing everybody else under the bus? 10 years ago, even the far left progressives knew we have to defend the David Duke's right to speech, even though we disagree with them. He was actually on Cenk Uyghur's The Young Turks and had a debate with Cenk Uyghur. This is before, or Uyghur, however you say it. This is before all the censorship stuff. People actually used to debate, CNN still brings Richard Spencer on all the time. Like, he's like an analyst or something on there. So it's like, once you give up the speech for the people you disagree with the most, they go down the list. That's why you don't do it. So it's far past Alex Jones or David Duke or Louis Farrakhan. It's to the point where the government is getting censored. So the fact that last week they were condemning QAnon, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like Louis Farrakhan, but seeing so many conservatives play cancel culture as they go around to campuses and tell everybody they're anti-cancel culture. I saw this happening last year, and none of my friends seem to really care about it. They're like, let's just wait till after the election. It's like, it's not going to be an election now, because now with COVID and censorship, it's like this, you can't not believe in free speech. It's so simple, and it's so gone now, but it's almost good that it's this far, because they finally had to wake up. Like, your own website got censored, but this was always going to happen when you throw everyone else under the bus. That's never been how free speech works. And now I think people have a rude awakening.
Man, you nailed it. And that goes back to 230 reform. Like, because this is the new town square. This isn't just a program. It's the place, because the internet is the future. We now live in a society where everyone has a cell phone. No one's meeting up every day. Like everyone's moving around because we're all over this globe now. You know, all of our friends are spread out throughout the world, but most importantly, we're connecting on the internet now. People are in groups, and freedom of speech shouldn't be limited to just in person. Like you said, the more that they get rid of people, the more bubbles appear, the more echo chambers are, you know, and then of course the mainstream media, the people that only want to hear what they have to hear, then that's all they're hearing, and then that's manipulating people to think that that's the truth, which of course isn't the truth. You know, we got to have that freedom of speech everywhere, man. Reform 230. That's what we need.
They need to do something. Yeah. Internet Bill of Rights, Reform 230, or even just enforce. Like, I'm looking for lawyers. I don't know if anybody wants to help me. I'm in the process almost, but like they banned me for, you know, a CDC and an NBC article, and they claimed I said something I never said. That's liable. If they said, okay, that's hate speech, or we don't agree with QAnon, I'm not saying it's right, but at least they're making sense of what they're pretending to do. Like, you're QAnon, we're banning you. I don't agree with it, but there's some sort of like consistency, even though I still think that's wrong. But like for me, they're like, you said that the flu was worse than the COVID. And I'm like, I never said that. Like, and then they said the CDC doesn't agree. The CDC doesn't agree with the CDC. I don't, if this can't hold up in court, then no one can. You know, I have
a CDC article.
Yeah, like NBC News quoting the CDC. They're like, well, Trump said this. I don't care what Trump said. Like, Trump says a lot of things, and they're trying to like blame me for what he said, even though low key what he said is not even outlandish anyway, but it's just straight up libel. And I email these fact checkers. They don't care. Facebook doesn't care. These people have the mindset of that CEO who said, like, you know, once the revolution comes, this is what's going to happen to you. And I'll happily provide video commentary. I think a lot of these people really, you know, are every bit as hateful, and, you know, in their heads, like a lot of the Project Veritas stuff, he's like violent, you know, they're like, we're going to lobby and just hurt people. I don't think this way. Like, I don't know. Behind closed doors, I'm more like, you know, I'll defend myself if people come, but I'm not trying to go hurt people that disagree with me. I just want them to stop being like insane. That's really all.
Yeah. Well, it happened to Tim about a month ago. Somebody flagged his stuff on Facebook, and he was like, you know, they were basically calling Tim. I don't exactly know what happened, but they basically said that his stuff was not factual and flagged it or whatever. And Tim got really pissed because he was posting the truth and an opinion, which you're allowed to do. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he, you know, this guy was basically saying, well, you're saying this. And Tim was like, no, I'm not. Read verbatim what I said. And the guy was saying, well, yeah, you know, and Tim basically got him to admit that, okay, it was just an opinion on a fact, which was not what he was flagging it for. He was flagging it because he essentially, what happened was he added a bias. He added this, because I know the way you think, your post means this. You know, so someone who's, say, on the far left side of things posts the same thing, right? They have a different reason of posting it. And so the inflections of what it means changes. So they're actually altering, kind of like altering the dictionary to manipulate the way things actually, you know, what they actually meant is like, no, you can't change what they meant. They meant exactly what verbatim what they said. If you start altering it, then it gets even sloppier, you know, because then, and we see it, you know, the sexual preference. They said it themselves 3 weeks ago at the end of September. And now they're saying that that's offensive. So you are admitting yourself that you offended all of them as well. Like, what? Come on. That's what they're doing.
They're like authoritarian control freaks. It's like 1984 thought crime. They don't even want you to think that. Like, you know, Tim might disagree with me or other people or whatever, but he's trying to debate, have a conversation. Like, I'll make a joke or whatever. These people are like, we don't want you to exist. We don't want you to say this. We don't want you to think this. And where does it lead? Their ideology leads to violence. Like, they call everybody else Nazis. I think Sean King called Tim Pool a white supremacist, not like neo-Nazi or something, which is like, this is the sick mind they have. Like, even if you disagree with what Tim says, like, that's clearly not Tim, and not even remotely close. Clearly. It's so laughable. But on the flip side, like they say, oh my God, everybody's a Nazi. Like, if you did a poll of like Republicans behind closed doors, I would say like 99% look very unfavorably among Nazis. It's not popular in the GOP. especially there's so many Zionists, they love Israel and Jewish people more than Jewish people love themselves sometimes. You go to the left wing, though, a lot of these people, a lot of them are communists. You know, I'm not going to say everybody, because a lot of people are just trying to vote for the Democrats, but a lot of these progressives, like I would say a lot of them believe in communism, you know, like most of them. It's like, and I'm okay with that if we're allowed to debate, but not if they're allowed to steamroll and lie and shut down. But the more I read old communist books and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is literally what they're doing. It's word for word what was written in the, you know, in the 1900s. So they are like everything they claim. Trump is not a fascist. He won't even overrule the states during COVID, even though he might be able to, because he just doesn't want to come off that way, because he's not that way. These people don't even have the White House, and they're literally shutting down the White House. Like, these people are psychopaths. It's bizarre.
Man, you nailed it. That's true. So, I mean, we don't have that much time left. It's almost 7:30. Let's talk about what you're doing now. So what are you up to? You know, like, what is your, you know, what's your day-to-day look like? I know, are you still making music? Is that still very prominent in your life?
It's taken a back seat. I actually have a song coming out with this kid, Patriot J, today. It's called Thought
Patriot
Criminal.
J? What? Oh, no doubt. I know Patriot J. Shout out to Patriot J. What up?
We have I said kid, he's not that much younger than me, but, you know, grown man, Patriot J. We have a music.
You said it. He's a kid now. Patriot J. You're a kid.
It's coming out in a few hours. I think me and Bryson Gray might work on an album. But
nice.
I'm writing a book, and I love the political stuff, and I love the control I have. So I'm just doing that. I visited my family, my grandma, my dad, my mom recently. Went to the beach yesterday. I'm living life. Life is good. But trying to get that book out. I have hats on dreamrare.com, DREAMRARE. It's also my Instagram. I'm selling hats. God is great. God bless. And it's perfect timing, really, because I just started selling last month, and then they took away my monetization on Facebook. And I almost am like totally compensated for it. It's not as much, but like it really was a blessing where I did this, and I'm thinking, I'm like compounding. I'm like, man, I'm really going to crush it now. And then they sucked away my monetization. I was disappointed, but I was like, you know what? I am glad I started with the hats and the shirts and stuff. So you know, just cranking out videos, doing a little bit of everything.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of excited to hear that song with Patriot J and Bryson Gray also, because they're both awesome. Bryson actually just joined me last week. He drove up here from North Carolina, 5 hours, just over 5 hours to get here. It was a great time.
I saw that one, and the Patriot J song is a banger. He came to me because I was like, you know, if it's a banger, I'm gonna do it. He was like, will you feature? And I listened to it. I was like, dude, this is a hit. Like, you came. I knew I had to come prepared, so. It's good. We got the video. The video is funny. Should be a good time.
Where's it going to be on his YouTube? Your YouTube? Where's it going to be?
His YouTube first, then mine tomorrow. I'll probably upload it. But I mean, if YouTube's even around, we joke that like it's not even going to be possible. But literally, I come home today after I bought a bike, and like I can't even like respond to you in DMs. I feel like I'm living in 1984 end stage where they're just destroying everything. So. Hopefully it's on YouTube, but maybe they're going to shut down YouTube today. I have no idea anymore.
It's funny. My phone lit up about 10 minutes ago, right? And I got some messages from you saying, "Okay, sounds good. You know, I'll be on soon." That was like 10 minutes ago. So I
sent them an hour ago, and
so maybe Twitter finally is back up and running and fine again. I don't know what happened with Twitter, but
Jack Dorsey was taking everybody's DMs and just eating them with like siphoning energy. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man,
private information.
Yeah, check this out. Someone sent me this earlier. Is Twitter down right now? And this is when we started the show. This is like at 6:30 right here. So it was like peaked down for everyone, and it seems to have returned back down to normal. So
okay. Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah,
hopefully this lasts on YouTube for a week or so.
Ooh, I just messed up the UFO. Sorry, UFO. Hold on, let's see if I got this.
That's cool.
Woo! First try. All right. Anyway, let's read some super chats. I'm sure there's people have some questions for us that we can probably discuss because we have, I don't know, about another half hour before the debates start again. I'm really happy about that they actually did do that because I was bummed that the debate got canceled yesterday. All right, Ben Ritter says Twitter ate my message to you. So Scott Jace from Reclaim the Net told me to reach out to you about his article Twitter banning me from advertising Election Year Knockout, a video game, over its no theme. I want to send you a copy. May I? Absolutely. Yeah. Send it to me at adamcastirl@gmail.com. I have heard about this game. It's just like a fighting game, isn't it? It's like where you can be Trump and it's just like a fighting game. I'm sure there's some new players in the game because there's some new people that are going for Biden, and then maybe Kamala's in there now. I don't know if she was in before, but it's ridiculous that they're just banning you from advertising a game. Election Year Knockout. It's a fighting game that doesn't make any sense. All right. Mark Robershaw says, up and Adam. Nice. I see what you did there. Mark again says, watch the entire history of the world, I guess. That's probably a long history, but I don't know. And then again, Mark says, have you done the Godzilla challenge? What is the Godzilla challenge? Do you know what that is?
No, I haven't heard. Oh, maybe it was the Eminem rap game or something? I think Eminem dropped a song called Godzilla or something.
Oh, okay.
People did the rapped his lyrics.
Okay.
I did a remix of my own, but I don't think I rapped the lyrics. I might be wrong about that. Hopefully.
All right. Yeah, let us know if you can, chat. Mark again says, stuffed crust is the best crust. Okay. All right. Lucius says, Anomaly, you are boss. You inspired me to make my own channel. You speak truth to power. That is what makes you so dangerous. You and Adam need a show. There you go.
Thank you. This is our show right here.
Yeah. You're experiencing it right now, and it's actually been fantastic. Yeah, I really do just want to say real quick, thank you for joining me. It's really been a great conversation.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that it inspired. Hopefully, the channel's doing well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Mark Robershaw again says Tim's about to get banned off of Twitter. Rip Tim Tam. I don't think so. I think Tim's fine. He rides the fence, right where he needs to go, and he tends to stay in the middle. Granted, he gets awfully spicy on Twitter sometimes, so I don't know. We'll see. But
the fact that he sat down with them might be protecting him in some way, because it would just be too obvious. Like, he got to debate them in front of them. I think they probably are the last to pull the trigger on him for that reason.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's literally on the record for calling him out for stuff on Rogan's show. Yeah, so that's interesting. Of course, he did just have the leader of the Proud Boys on Monday, so it's rather controversial in some circles, but I think it was a fine conversation. So let's see, where do we got? Mark Robershaw says, we need to Kratos these big tech fools. If you really want to stand up and fight, you just got to stand up and fight. Keep speaking out. Let's see. Colostomy Baguette says the GOP has no teeth. Sure, they are gumming the Democrats, but all it's doing is spreading the spittle. I guess you got some you got a point there. What is that? What kind of hat you just threw on your head?
Oh, it's just it's the same one in pink. I'm just
oh, you got it in pink, huh?
Yeah, I'm just
colors you got
on hats, so I figured I'd add one more just on top.
Nice.
Back in.
Free advertising. All right. Mark Robershaw again says it's the end of the world as we know it. Well, I feel fine. All right. Desert Bandit. Only Terry Davis can save us now. Also, great show tonight. 10 out of 10. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see. Mark Robershaw again says Crooked Biden is trending on Twitter #1. Are you serious? No way. Crooked Biden is trending #1 on Twitter. Is Twitter even running right now? Let's see. I'm just going to pull this up, see what trend. Twitter down is #1. Verified Corpse is #2. And #3 is Crooked Joe Biden. Jeez. Spicy Twitter. My goodness. All right. The American Dream says it's a private cake business. They can do whatever they want. Are you talking about Twitter right now? Or are you talking about that cake company that didn't want to do the gay wedding thing? Is that what you're talking about? We didn't even talk about that, right? I don't know why you're talking about that, but
maybe he's trying to make the point that the tech companies are like the cake. I don't know. It could be. Is he saying? Are you saying the tech companies are gay? Because that's hate speech. If you're saying that.
No, I think you're right. I think they're saying, because I was saying the internet is the new town square. Twitter is a space where people go to speak. Although in the same sense, they made it a law that President Trump can't ban anyone. He can't mute anyone. He has to have he has an open forum on his tweets. So he can't do anything with it. So how are they supposed to say that how does it, is it a public forum only on the president's tweets, or is it a public forum in general? Because this is the world we live in now. That's the point I was trying to make.
And that's what a lot of the libertarians don't understand is like they play both sides. They act like they're a private company when it's convenient. They act like they're a public square when it's convenient. And then they rule against Trump for that. But then they can kick me off for posting a CDC article. They need to be held accountable. I'm no authoritarian, but I think the libertarians are missing that. Or he was just calling them gay, which once again is hate speech. So don't.
I don't think that's what it was. I don't think it was. But you keep saying, did they ban you or did they demonetize you?
No, well, they demonetized me, made it so I can't make any money on live streams. They froze my fan subscription thing where I can't even talk to them. And then they also said they were like rigging my news feed so my stuff would be seen less. So, and I just made it to the top 10 all like Facebook. They had like data where they were doing top 10 most shared links. I was beating Trump a lot of days. I was beating almost everyone. I mean, literally the top 10 in the US. Once I was on that list, I was happy because I realized I was as big as I thought I was. But then I was also kind of upset because I knew once I was on there, I'm like, I'm done because I don't have the representation Shapiro has or Trump. So I'm like, I'm literally like a lone wolf, So I'm like, this is not going to last very long. And then,
and then sure enough. So if you do want to support him, you can go to his. I listed his website, or not his website. This is your YouTube channel. It's in the description below. Also, his Twitter handle.
Dreamrare.com. DREAMRARE. Hold on, I got 4 hats.
There they are.
All right.
There he is. So you can go support him there and check him out. If you don't know who Anomaly is, you can definitely check him out because he's got some great content on his YouTube channel. And of course some dope hats because Facebook cut him off. So let's help him out. What else we got here? Mark Robershaw says Crooked Binder. I already said that one. The American Dream says it's a private cake business. Oh, where am I? Why am I? Oh, here we go. RJ, Adam, and Anomaly, Soy Jesus, and Shy Drake. Awesome. What's Shy? is Shy Drake? Is that what is that nickname? Yours?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what shy means, but sometimes people say I look like a Mexican Drake or something. I've heard it. I'm not sure what the shy is a reference to. I'm not that hip, but yeah, I've heard like I look like Hispanic Drake or.
Okay, interesting. Well, I see Shy. It's CHI, and I'm from Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
Which doesn't make sense because you're from Jersey.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, maybe he got him mixed up. Either way, I forgive you, and I only feel slightly offended by it. I'll reminisce on it, and I'll figure out how offended I am tomorrow.
Okay, good for you. Mark Robershaw says there's a pyramid buried under Antarctica. Okay, thank you for that random little tidbit of information. Vicidius, Censor Me is one of my favorite songs, especially relevant right now. You're not really liberal, you're just mind controlled.
That's me and Bryson Gray. I was on the MAGA first album. That's one of my lines. Nice.
Oh, okay. Right on. Mark Robershaw again with a couple of pyramid facts. The pyramid is at least 40,000 years old. It was discovered by someone named Wayland in 2004. And then Mark Robershaw again with a couple others says eventually 2.5 million will die. Eventually, LOL. Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to die eventually, right?
I'm fact checking him on the Antarctica one. Hold on. I'll searching in.
Are you checking that out right now?
Trying to fact check him. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's an ancient alien, so it has to be real.
Yeah,
I think they covered it in an episode.
Aliens, right?
That meme, yeah.
Someone put my face on that and said something about admit it. I took the UFO or I don't know or something because of this UFO. I'm gonna spin it because I just feel it's a good time to spin the UFO right now. All right, there it is. I spun it. All right, let's see. Mark Robershaw says Bill Gates has been replaced. He's not the same. What? Where are you getting this information, Mark? Come on.
With RBG, people used to say that too. Where like before she passed, they kept saying she was already dead, and I'm like, guys, I don't think she's dead. I think I think they're gonna try to keep her there as long as possible, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. People get a little loose with their theories, which is fine. I won't ban you like YouTube, but yeah, I don't think Bill Gates has been replaced. But who knows?
I don't think so either. All right, so let's keep it going. Leonardo says we could put 40 people on Mars permanently for the same amount of money that we have spent punishing nonviolent 420 offenses in the past 30 years. All right. I mean, I don't know the statistics per se, but I do think we need to end the war on drugs and, decriminalize a lot of things that are criminalized and, release these nonviolent drug offenders that, when all the laws that will eventually change, I think it's happening soon. I mean, all across the country, weed is basically becoming decriminalized and legalized in some states. It's not federally mandated yet. I think it's still a Schedule 1 drug, which is bonkers to me that it is. But yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. But that's some crazy facts. I didn't know that. White Lasagna says, drove by a Biden sign on the way home. The very next house had a big old Trump flag. Shows the disparity of enthusiasm. Do Biden flags even exist? Good question.
I will say I saw a Biden flag in a suburb when I was on the East Coast, and I was shocked because I immediately thought it was a Trump flag because it was a flag, and I was like, "What? It's the first ever Biden flag." I was thinking this. Like, I've never seen a Biden flag. It was disappointing. There were actually a lot of Biden signs. I was, it's not pumped about it, but I don't know. I guess in the suburbs you can afford to think that way.
Yeah, I've actually seen quite a few Biden signs here out where I'm at now. Now I moved away from Jersey. Now I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And for every Biden sign, though, that I see 15 Trump signs, Trump flags, Trump. There's this, I was driving down the highway and I saw just this massive, huge, not a semi, but like a big, huge yellow sign that said, get packing Biden, Trump 2020, and then it's like, thank a trucker, thank your police departments. And I was just like, yeah, it's the truth. Like the truckers are like the lifeblood of our country that no one talks about. And then of course the police department is so necessary that they've been demonized almost, and it's ridiculous. So I don't know. Let's see, where are we going? Mark Robershaw again says, just use the time machine in Area 51. Oh yeah, right. I don't know what that was in reference to, but funny. Insight of the Ages says, do y'all talk about how Twitter is down today? Yeah, I mean, in and out of the conversation, because I don't know. It's awfully fishy because, Jack Dorsey's being subpoenaed, and then of course, Twitter is back up. So it's not like it's, if it was still down right now, I'd been like, man, this is, it's getting really interesting because by 8 o'clock, which is the town hall tonight with Joe Biden and President Trump, which we all should be there. And Twitter is a space that everyone comes together to talk about what's happening.
Wait,
Facebook is also. Go ahead.
They're doing two separate ones on two different stations. Is that what's happening?
I don't think so.
They're doing them together?
I think that they are like they're actually going to be at the same place. That's what I have been led to understand. I don't know for a fact. Chat, do you guys know this? If the town hall, are they going to be together, or are they going to be in? Is it virtual? I'm pretty sure they're physically in the same spot.
From what I heard, and don't quote me on this. Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess
okay.
Technically it could be quoted, I guess, but out of context, make a meme out of it. No, but I think there's like an ABC town hall that Biden was a part of, and all the liberals were mad because NBC booked Trump in his own town hall at the same exact time, which wouldn't make sense. That's what I read. But once again, I know that a headline or a tweet is not the gospel, and I didn't really research it enough. So see if
chat has got it covered. They're saying Trump seems to be in Miami at the original spot. So it's two town hall meetings in different networks and different cities. This is going to be really interesting, actually.
It is two different ones, right?
What's up?
Oh, it's two different ones?
I guess it's so. How is that going to work? How are they going to do? So two different networks are going to be hosting
different town halls. That's why they're mad at NBC, because the Joe Biden one was booked first, and then NBC booked. It is kind of messed up. Like Trump at the same exact time, and of course, people are going to watch the Trump one over Biden.
Wow.
Who wants to watch slow Biden?
Who's going to watch I'll tune in and go, they've got 6 people. Switch back over to the Trump rally page, because that's basically what it is, a Trump rally. Biden's town hall, Trump rally. at a town hall. That's kind of how it at least that's how I feel it's going to be.
Do you notice with the debates too, the moderators, the first question, they like paint this picture? Because if you speak, you know, if you're a good storyteller, it's this gloomy picture of like 200,000 people dead. Like that's the first thing. It's like they don't talk about what he did in the Black community, Hispanic wall, any of that stuff. It's just like this gloomy day in America that you destroy, and like that's how they start the debate. It's so disingenuous.
I agree. It's ridiculous. And it's clearly they're like lobbing, you know, a nice softball over to Biden and then throwing it at Trump as hard as they can. It's like, gosh, can you get a non-biased source? Can you please go on Joe Rogan? Please let Tim Pool moderate it. You know, he's awfully centered. He will call them both out. Do you agree with me? What do you think about that? I think Tim Pool.
Joe Rogan will do a better job. Tim Pool will do a better job. It's messed up because I've done moderation before. And, you know, even if I have a bias for the moderator, I try to be fair and balanced. Like that's just what you do if you're like a decent person and trying to be fair. They're so not fair. Oh, for sure, Tim or Rogan would be fantastic. And no question that you would get the best. I know Trump sat down with Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. It's one of his best interviews because it's so genuine and it's so like, it's not like attacking, like, it's like he actually talked to him. And Trump was like, it almost seemed like a burden off his shoulders. He was like, wow, like somebody that doesn't just like viciously hate me. And he had tough questions, but it was, Tim or Joe, it would be fantastic. And it would get so many views. I would love to see him sit down on Joe and, you know, just speak. I think he would impress a lot of people.
Well, did you hear that, Joe Biden? Joe Rogan has called it out. He said he would do it. Trump said yes. Trump said, I'm down. So Joe Biden, hello. The American people want to see this. But guess what? He's afraid.
Trump should just go by himself. That would even be better. No interrupting. No, you know, like 3 hours of Trump on Biden, on Rogan. And Rogan will come with some tough questions. But I think Rogan is, you know, a way more, even at his worst, he's way better than anybody on television. Like there's times when I watch Joe and I'm like, I don't agree with it, but like he's way better than Chris Wallace. He's way better than most people at Fox. That's why he has such big numbers. Trump's got to go on his podcast. He's got to hurry up. The vote's in a few weeks. Get on there, Trump.
Get on it. Get on it. Yo, the people want to see that for sure. All right, let's see. White Lasagna says, wears a bandana as a mask with a little star. You calling me out, Adam? No. I'm not calling you out. Because I don't think it's that bad anyway. I don't think it's that bad. I think I actually may have had COVID in February. I got really sick. I had a shortness of breath. I was hacking up some stuff and I had crazy fever. I had all the signs. So I think I already had it. I think I got it and beat it and I'm good now. So am I calling you out? No. I think I'm calling out the CDC. I'm calling out the Democrats that are fear mongering. That's who I'm calling out. So you're fine. Mark Robershaw says, I have a piece of paper that says, I'm smart, honest. Good for you, Mark. I'm so proud of you. Again, Mark says, example of stupidity, look at flat earthers. How do you feel about the flat earther thing?
I'm not mad at them. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to say I'm one. I've told them, this is all I'll say because I know it's controversial. They need to rebrand to Dome, the Dome. The dome sounds more believable. Flat Earth, it sounds like a piece of paper. People aren't really, you know, it just sounds silly. But dome, you know, there's some interesting things that I'm not a big domer per se. It's not my whole life, but I do find it interesting that everything that I thought was way out there, like the Hubble telescope and the International Space Station, it's within Earth's atmosphere. And they even now claim that the Earth's atmosphere might go past the moon. The amount of inconsistencies they have, the fact that they really haven't done anything super obviously provable outside of the Earth's atmosphere, maybe, you know, ever in our lifetime. And in 1969, their excuses are just insane. I'm not mad at flat earthers. I just think flat earth is a stupid name. It's a stupid brand. Okay, even so like the Q stuff, I'm not saying that's stupid, but like you make this brand and you're this group and then they just take you down. Like I'm not going down with the flat earthers. You got to change it to dome earth and then maybe I'll go down with you guys.
Okay, wait. So hold on. So do you admit that you're a domer then?
No, I'm not a domer, but I think they bring up some interesting points as far as like the amount of things that are going on that, you know, space is not just outside Earth's atmosphere. They also call it in. Hubble telescope within Earth's atmosphere, International Space Station, even on NASA's website within Earth's atmosphere. I find that very interesting. And the excuses that NASA has for why they can't go back are just bizarre. If you've ever seen Don Pettit, he said, we had the technology, but we lost it. And it's a painful process to build back again. It's like, clearly they're lying, or they remind me of the CDC. So I won't say I'm a dome earther, but I will say I'm not the type to say the dome earthers are the worst. You know, I'm like, listen, I want to see a debate, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch it like Pence Kamala and eat my popcorn. Yeah. And I'm on the fence. I'm on the dome fence.
You're on the dome fence. All right. Interesting. I would love to get more into that conversation, because that's actually an interesting deep dive. What, like, flat earthers, because I actually have a friend that's a flat earther who is really has, I wouldn't say tried that hard, but they have tried to like show me the evidence. And I'm very big into space. I'm very big into the future of space travel, going to Mars, what's happening on Venus with the organic materials that have been found. It's really interesting stuff to me, and I think that Earth is a globe. I'm not that into either one. So like you say that doesn't bother me, because I'm not a dome or flat earther, but I'm also not like into space really. I think a lot of it is suspicious. I'm literally like just kind of observing both sides. And I think a lot of the flat earthers kind of get carried away, like the Q people. Like a lot of what they're saying makes sense, but then they'll say like, a lot of the Q people got mad at me in March because I said the lockdown was bad and it was like authoritarian. And they're like, no, Trump's going to use it to arrest everybody. And like, that was their theory, where it's like, I don't think Q said that, but like people get in these movements and then they just go everywhere with it. Where first of all, if you want me in your movement, you got to change the name, because flat just sounds two-dimensional. If you start talking dome, you know, I'll peek my head over. I'm not going to jump in and sit down with you, but I'm going to look in the dome and be like, let's see what you got to say. And then I'm gonna listen to Adam and let's see what Adam has to say. You know, I'm like an undecided third-party voter. Somebody's got to win me over. No one's won me yet. I like Elon Musk, but I also like some of the dome people. All right. So you think of it more as a snow globe kind of a thing. So it's, you know, it could, you know, that's what I'm picturing, instead of like a flat Earth disc, which is what
I'm not saying I'm really sold on it, but I find that I used to think all these things were like way outside of Earth's atmosphere. But once I found out that they're in Earth's atmosphere, and I started doing a deep dive on like why we haven't gone back to the moon, they have horrible excuses. They gave a fake moon rock to Denmark, I believe. And they did a test on it. It was petrified wood. They said they lost the tape, or they lost the telemetry data. They deleted it and can't build it back again. Meanwhile, the computer was like not even as strong as a modern day cell phone, and we have quantum computers. Something's not adding up. So that's where my skepticism comes from. I learned it's kind of like climate change. I used to be huge into it, and then I started hearing the other argument. And then I'm like, I'm not saying the climate's not changing, and I'm not saying it's not possible if we're screwing up and being dumb. Yeah. But, you know, a lot of what I used to, I'm like, it's not adding up. So that's how I feel about space. I love Elon Musk, but I look at Elon, and he actually retweeted or responded to me, I think earlier this year. And that was like one of my favorite responses I got from him over the COVID stuff. But I'm like, you got to convince me, because I haven't been sold yet. But Elon, if anyone could do it, it's obviously him. I'm literally on the fence, and not just to ride it. I genuinely don't feel that strongly about space, and I don't feel that strongly about the dome.
Right on. All right. Interesting combo. Cool. I honestly, I would love to bring on like an actual flat earther, and maybe bring you on, and we can actually talk about it, because I'm very much not a flat earther. You know,
maybe I can moderate it, because I'm genuinely down the middle. I could come with the questions, like, because there's things that I'm like, I've watched, some people are just not good at explaining it, but it's true. I haven't even seen that many flat earthers that like blew my mind. It's more just me doing my own research. So it's like, I would love to moderate a flat earth debate. Yeah, that'll get us kicked off real fast. But
I'd have a good time. I'd have a good time doing it. Let's see.
I'm down though. I'm with it.
Awesome. Oh man, I just had a super chat jump. Thank you everybody for super chatting. Let me just move up here. Where was I? Huge reaction says, when free speech dies, so does democracy. It's a good point. We need that free speech. We got to be able to communicate, and you know, part of furthering yourself is understanding both sides of the aisle and realizing what's right, what's wrong. We need that. We need to maintain that. The Grey Grammar says, watch Filthy Frank's video about vegans. It's funny as hell. Let us know tomorrow what you think, and I'll give you another 5. Filthy Frank's video about vegans. All right, maybe I'll check that out. Let's see here. JT says, great list of guests and conversations recently, Adam. Keep up the good work. Personalities that I probably wouldn't have heard of. So thank you. Take my money and keep these conversations coming. I will do that, JT. And we'll also just take that second to just say thank you again, Anomaly, for joining. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Thanks for inviting me on. Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
Definitely. Ribs Exposed says, may the truth find its rightful place amongst the hearts of men. Love your channel, Adam, and always speak up. Thank you, Ribs. I will. I promise I will. Brandon Commando says, looking for some legit shampoo. Every company advertises that theirs is the best, but 99% of them are BS. What are you guys using?
Just some basic stuff. I don't know. I don't really.
Shampoo?
Yeah.
What? I don't use shampoo. I seriously don't. My hair is, I just wash it and, nothing.
You don't use shampoo?
No.
Dude, this is the scandal. Forget the flat earth. Hold on. This is a scandal.
Why? What?
I don't know. It's just shocking. I'm not even mad at it. It's not like you're dreaded up and haven't taken a shower. I
shower. I shower when I smell. So.
I have a question for you real quick. I know I didn't super chat, but how do you read all the super chats? Because when I'm live, I only get the most recent ones and then they disappear. How do you find them all?
Okay, so in the YouTube studio, there's a spot that after we finish the show, I'll talk to you more about it and let you know about it.
I always miss it, and people got mad when I used to go live. So yeah, that's cool.
I got you. Lucas says, great guest. Most of the vids I watch on politics is from Instagram search. Anomaly shows up a lot. Twitter is dead. Well, great. Good to, and I'll second that. Let's see. Boxer Tail says, badass that you got Anomaly on help this man out. He is being silenced, as I have been finding out. So you can follow him below on Twitter. He is at Legendary Energy, and you can also check out his channel. Below, there's the link to his YouTube channel. Go on and check out his videos, and subscribe to me as well if you haven't subscribed. Let's see. The American Dream says, I was just playing on it's a private business. They can do whatever they want. Mantra said by the same people who say bake the cake, bigot. I see. So you missed the sarcasm slash. Almsy says, quit using the words hate speech. There's no such thing. It is completely subjective and no law for it. Isn't there a law for it? I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, I was joking when I was using it. I was being sarcastic, but yeah, it is a broad definition. I mean, if you hate the truth, then truth could be the hate speech. That's what I'm writing my book on. I was just being sarcastic, but like even words like, a lot of right wingers use anti-Semitic in good faith, but like if you understand what it should mean versus what it does mean, and they actually have it on the State Department website and there's laws in Europe, it's like, yeah, it gets real fast. I know, like, if you say something about like a Muslim immigrant or something, they like come to your door in England, like this. Yeah, that's all bad. I was just joking. I'm not really like calling everything hate speech.
Oh, it's all good. Mark Robershaw says, you got trolled. Get wrecked. All right, Mark, I'll take your super chat though. Mike Hunt says, I just got here. This guy is an original red pill or whatever. He's been calling everything out for years. I've been watching his stuff on Facebook for a long time. Great work. Thank you, Mike. Right on. Red Green Show says, Tim put a welfare Adam on his show, so I'm here. Everyone keeps comparing Ian to me, and he's just not me. We're not the same people. Ian is very different than I am, and I do find it to be a shame that I'm no longer on that show, but it is what it is. Brando Commando says, can Anomaly teach me how to play volleyball? I don't know. Do you play volleyball?
I actually do love volleyball. Yeah, I could. I mean, I could, but I can't give you athletic skills. If you suck, you suck. Like, I'm pretty nice. I'm pretty good at volleyball, but yeah, sure. Just DM me. Give me an offer. Private lesson.
Private lesson, volleyball lesson by Anomaly coming soon. Mark Robershaw says, I use a Biden flag for toilet paper. Okay. Well, that's quite bold and probably quite scratchy too, and it'll probably clog your toilet. You should be careful. Tyler McFarland says Matrix Breaker is fire. Everyone go listen to it. Is that one of yours?
It's one of my. I did a song last year, but I did a video for it this year, so I got that. Thank you.
Nice.
We got some real people promoting the music in here.
Yeah,
A lot
no
of people don't even know I do music because I don't even talk about it that much. I love the political analysis. It's easier to. I don't like recording and dealing with that stuff. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah. All right. I'm trying to get through these super chats because we don't have too much longer before the town hall starts. Mavis says, I can get on Twitter, but it won't let me post any comments. Keep getting an error message. Yeah, that's what was happening to me. Ben Ritter says, sent you a Steam key to the email you mentioned. Thanks for listening to my plight. I hope the game gives you a good laugh. All right, I'll check it out. Definitely. That sounds like fun. Adam's surfboard. I'm way more interesting than the rest of this wall. Do I have a surfboard? I don't even think I have a surfboard. So I don't know what wall you're talking about, but thanks for
the thing behind you, like the snowboard or something.
This one? Wait.
Yeah, he's talking about the snowboard.
Oh, no, that's a skateboard.
A skateboard. We're both wrong. It looked a surfboard, snowboard. Yeah,
that's all right. Adam's surfboard. I will forgive you this time. Martian Observer says, have you guys seen the Great Barrington Declaration? Bunch of smart peeps saying we need to move the herd immunity ASAP. Well, we did mention Sweden, and it worked. They don't have masks. They didn't lock down. They have everything's fine. Their economy's open. They protected their old people wisely. So they really did do it right, actually. Let's see. Insight of Ages. I worked for SpaceX. Hit me up. Oh, right on. Email me at adamcastirl@gmail.com. My goodness, I just had a lot of super chat jumps. Here we go. Mark Robershaw says, it's another Ian. Wow. Well, I don't know about that. Adam's glasses. I be glaring at dudes. That's funny. I be ripping him says, I don't like them fart earthers either. Nice. I see what you did there. The R Heretic says, just got my Q video on Fall of Cabal removed for harassment. There's no harassment in this video. Not everything in the video is sound, but people need to know their arguments if they want to debate them. That's true. They need to know their arguments. I do agree with you. Be strong and courageous says, Adam, Jeff Durbin for your next guest. Love your content, brother. Side note, Jackie Hill Perry for some good rap. What up, Anomaly? Right on.
What's up?
Carnal says, can someone point to the direction of where I can find Antarctica on the flat Earth map? Does it exist on flat Earth? Actually, they believe that it is at the very outskirts of the entire map. That it is one big ring, essentially.
Just look out. Just look across the horizon, and you can see Antarctica everywhere. Just blink 3 times, and then everything turns icy. That's not true.
Unfortunately, Californian says Wendy's burger buns are better than all other fast food buns. Okay. The R Heretic says we're living in a CCP-style government run by oligarchs. Half of all this money goes to YouTube. How else can we pay Adam directly to read our super chats? You can't, as far as super chats go, but you can donate to me directly if you'd like. AdamKrigler.net. You can also send me physical mail. I have a PO box that you can send me there as well. And what is your website again? You want to plug that real quick?
Oh yeah, I got so many websites, but my hats are on dreamrare.com. I have some censorship shirts and some hats. That's DREAMRARE, and I also have that's my Instagram name too. Wait, did you disappear?
Yeah, I just was giving you the full.
I mean, I don't need all that attention. I mean, you made me nervous. I was like, man, it's like the whole stage. You ever seen SpongeBob when Squidward came out? They were all cheering for SpongeBob, and then Squidward would jump out, and then like everybody stops cheering.
No, I don't remember that. That's okay.
You got how many people? 2,000 people here. Someone has to know that. At least 10 people laughed at that, and everyone else.
All right.
I mean,
are you calling me SpongeBob? All right.
No. I'm saying. I mean, well, actually, I don't know. I'd rather be SpongeBob than Squidward, but.
Hey, you did it. You did it.
All right, some people get it. There we go. It's for the real SpongeBob fans. Everyone else, it is what it is.
Crickets.
Yeah, you got sound effects.
Someone sent this to me. I have fun. Let's see here. Randy says, love the show, Adam. Storm says, Trump 2020. Carter Banks says, living proof for shampoo. It's the best. Also, Adam, I still got your domain. Sent you an email. Hit me up. All right, I'll check it out. Thank you. Steve says, you guys are great. Anomaly, you've been a longtime favorite of mine. Great to see how you show up. Sad how Facebook effed you. Adam, always love watching you too. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Steve. Bluntman says, check out FTFE, the team skeptic for Flat Earth. Okay, yeah, I'll check them out. DJ Codgill says, get Eddie Bravo for a flat earther. Also, repeat ask for Ryan Dawson. By the way, he's not a white supremacist or anti-Semitic, like I saw some saying in the chat when I mentioned it before. Everyone who's suggesting all these things, please email me at adamcastirl@gmail.com. Thank you very much. And then the R Heretic again says, they don't ask these questions about COVID, sexual assault, and climate change for Discover. It's about it's to plant doubt in people's minds. That's why they do it. White Lasagna says, I was under the impression the flat earth started as a way to point out that we as laypersons can't independently verify about space and the earth. Interesting point there. I am Bob says, hate speech, a term created by the Soviet communists as a tool for the purpose of political persecution. Interesting. Wormsworth says, you ain't really liberal, you just mind controlled. Google, Facebook, Twitter, they just like control. It's very true. And that is the rest of our super chats. And it is 8 o'clock. Time to go check out the town hall. Anomaly, thank you so much for joining me. What a pleasure to have you on the show. I hope to have you back again.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you. And God bless everybody watching. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Please go watch the debates. It's really important. This is probably the most important election of my lifetime anyway. And I will be on later with my buddy Josh playing on my Twitch channel. And I will see you tomorrow night, if not at same place, Adamcast IRL. And I will be doing a jam night because I'm also a musician and rock out on Fridays. So thank you very much, Anomaly. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.